guys. Welcome to DJ Security Command. I'm glad you guys made it, and I hope everybody by the end of this session you'll be able to learn something from it. My name is Joshua. I'm a student at University of Cincinnati, graduate student in Masters in Information Technology. I started this YouTube channel to help everybody that's watching this that's an international student that has an interest in cybersecurity. How are you going to break into the market here in the United States of America? You all know that it's not an easy journey. Not like the software engineer whereby you just go for a unit code interview and just make it. Because for someone to hand you the assistance for you to secure, they have to trust you. You need to have a security clearance, with our jobs and require security clearance and all that. But for you to be able to break into this space as an international student is very hectic. So I'll be talking to people that have made it, that were international students, and probably continue to do it. As you can see, me right here is a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, like a sister, that has already made it in the industry. In fact, like we used to call you, she's a tycoon, you know. I won't mention her name. She's going to introduce herself and probably we get started to.
What do
can
you mean by I made it? Guys, I haven't made it. I haven't gotten to where I want to be, but I feel like I've made progress. That's the right word. Just say
You
like
made
I've made progress.
She's made it. She's made it.
Yeah.
You'll get to know for yourself. She's made it. So please can you
Okay.
introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. So my name is Sylvia Worlali Azumah, but I'm popularly known as Worlali or Lali. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Cincinnati as well, and I am originally from Ghana, West Africa. Yeah, as Joshua said, just introduce myself.
So she's from Ghana and she's Sylvia, so probably that's how you get to born like that, you know.
Yeah.
But we're not going to speak Tree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to speak Tree.
Okay.
My first question to you is how did you get to know about cybersecurity? How did you get to be interested in the word cybersecurity or the world of cybersecurity?
That's an interesting question. Like how I got to know about cybersecurity, it's kind of intriguing. So I took this undergraduate class, which is Intro to Information Security and Assurance and Cyber Law. And I remember during like taking that class, we had a lot of course models in there that like talked about cybersecurity investigation, intel threat hunting, incident response. So that was the first time I actually like got exposed to information security and cybersecurity. So from there, I remember there was one particular thing that we were studying about, and that's the why do I keep forgetting this? The Sony hack,
Okay.
right? So we're kind of like investigating how that actually happened, the motivation behind that attack or like the cyber attack. And that was when like it just sparked my interest. I was just like, okay, I think cybersecurity is a domain I want to explore, So yeah.
Oh, so that was your first year
Yeah.
in University of
Undergrad,
Cincinnati?
yeah.
Oh,
No, so
undergraduate?
I actually had the exposure in my undergraduate,
Oh, okay.
and then that was when like it just sparked the interest. So I decided to pursue a master's in cybersecurity, and for my PhD, I continued to do that
Right.
as well. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
It's interesting, right? I don't think I really heard so much news about me being a lady and being in cybersecurity. It was more about my status as an international student.
Right.
So for me, it wasn't really like gender based because like I already had the confidence. I was doing something in tech already, and I knew that I could fit in any place or any aspect of IT that I wanted to be in. I think like the main issue was about my status of being an international student, because like a lot of people like told me, why are you pursuing cybersecurity? You don't have a green card or you're not a citizen. How are you going to get clearance to get in a job? It's not a best option for you. Maybe you should try software engineering or database engineering or data science or whatever. But I mean, I knew where I'm coming from. I knew why I had the interest in cybersecurity, and I was super motivated to pursue that. So I went for it. But having said that, it doesn't mean that I never faced any challenges. I mean, where I felt like I was a woman working in a male-dominated field. Yeah, sometimes I felt like I wasn't good enough for that position or to be in cybersecurity, but I motivated myself as I went on, and I found myself having like female mentors who are also in cybersecurity, so it helped.
Right. So now you're in the US. You started studying for masters in IT. That
Mm-hmm.
was your first course.
Yeah.
So you started studying for masters in IT.
Mm-hmm.
Take us through the application process.
I
How
should-
did you go about applying for jobs in cybersecurity?
Hmm.
Because that was going to be an internship.
Yeah.
Now you've heard it. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So I'm going to confess.
Yeah.
So I called my mentors back in Ghana. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, geez, it's very difficult to get. So I
Get a
think
job
I'm going
here.
to defer to be a data scientist or something like that, so that I can
Mm-hmm.
get in and probably show them what I can do. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
if I do that, I lose. So how did you do it? How did you start applying to jobs in your first year as an international student, primary, trying to focus on cybersecurity jobs?
Right.
Yeah.
I like that question because like I remember my progress, or I remember the process that I've been through, like being in this country trying to find a cybersecurity job.
Right.
Um, it was difficult. I won't
Mhm.
lie. It
Mhm.
hasn't been an easy process.
Mhm.
I think in my first year, I was hoping that I would get to work in the industry. I put out a lot of applications. I believe like over 100 applications in cybersecurity,
100.
and I tweaked my resume to suit every
Single.
single cyber job that I
Mhm.
saw out there, you
Mhm.
know. But unfortunately, I didn't get to have my first internship in the US
In
with
cybersecurity.
in cybersecurity with an industry.
Mhm.
But at that time, I remember I was working with one of my professors, Dr. Chen Lee. Thank you so much. He kind of like had this thing going on with the National Science Foundation and National Security Agency,
Mhm.
and they had this thing with high school students at UC. So
Mhm.
he just called me and said, "Hey Sylvia, like I have something for you. Would you be interested in doing this? Like you be a facilitator, cybersecurity facilitator, and then you introduce the high school students to cybersecurity. Would you
Mhm.
want to do it?" I was like, "Yeah." And then he said, "Then I need to have like a security clearance, or I think a background check on you." And then I was like, "Sir, I'm not a citizen. I'm an F1 student." He was
Yeah.
like, don't worry about that. I'll figure that out."
Mhm.
And then I was like, okay, I gave him the consent. I had a background check. He had everything paid out for me and
Mhm.
everything. And then he told me, "Hey Sylvia, you've actually been given the opportunity to go ahead and do this thing." So that was the starting point for me.
Oh.
I got so interested, even though I didn't get to use tools and everything out there.
Mhm.
I took the opportunity that my professor gave me.
Mhm.
I taught the high school students, and that was just the opening door for me. So
Mhm.
after teaching them, it was kind of like a 2 week
Thing.
long thing.
Okay.
And after I did that, he called me again and said, "Oh, this high school kids like really did well, and some of them have actually been selected to work for Kroger or like intern at Kroger. Would you mind being the project manager for that?" So you
Oh.
just like manage the kids
Okay.
and their day-to-day activity and what they need, like their
Mhm.
challenges, and you get to interact with some of the employees at Kroger.
Mhm.
So that was how I also had another opportunity to come in contact with people at Kroger, and some of them were like IT security professionals, project managers, and all that. So I used that opportunity to get like to 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 look at what was out there, interact
Mhm.
with people, get ideas on how I could break into cybersecurity.
Right.
So that's one point. It might not be smooth, but if you have an
You
opportunity,
can do it.
like by your professor or something, like just take that. Um, I think just after that, I started like learning more about cyber things, doing things on the side,
Mhm.
learning a lot, which I've actually compiled a bunch of resources. I'll be putting on my repository soon on
Yeah.
GitHub, and I'll be
Mhm.
sharing that.
Mhm.
Some resources I actually used
Mhm.
that has actually shaped my career right now.
Right.
Yeah, so
Oh,
mhm.
that was juicy.
Yeah.
That was juicy. I mean, from class to being a facilitator
Yeah,
to managing students
students,
at, at Kroger.
and then landing my ultimate cybersecurity job.
At Kroger.
Yeah. No, so I didn't get the first one that I had at Kroger. I wouldn't really say it was a
Okay.
cybersecurity job, but I did have like
Mm-hmm.
the basics of, I mean, basis of cybersecurity because
Mm-hmm.
I was actually managing those kits.
Right.
It also helped me to learn more. But I
Mm.
think like my major cyber job is like working.
Before you
Yeah,
go on that,
yeah, sure.
so now you did that, you came back.
Uh-huh.
What kind of tweaks did you make to yourself now, knowing what is out there,
Hmm.
having a first feel of what is being done in
Hmm.
the industry, though
Yeah.
you were not having the physical interaction with
Right.
that, but for you seeing it, I mean, coming back, how did that shape you? How did you do things then to land your first job
Hmm.
in cybersecurity?
Well, it actually shaped a lot, honestly. It took a toll on my mindset in a
Mm-hmm.
sense that it's not like I didn't have a great mindset. Like if you know me, you know that I'm super motivated, I'm self-motivated, and I do things like I'm motivated to do things that I'm so passionate about.
Right.
But at this point, it was like, hey, you've actually met these people. What are you doing? How are you going to use those connections to help you better your resume
Mm-hmm.
to get a job that you want?
Right.
You know, so I started like speaking to people, like talking to people in the cyber world, like
Mm-hmm.
just asking them, hey, this is my resume. What do you think about this? What kind of
So
job
to
do you
chip in
think?
into that,
Mm-hmm.
what medium were you using to reach out to these people? Did you have their contact numbers? Do you use any platforms?
Oh,
Can you share
so
with us?
basically, I was just using like LinkedIn,
Right.
but I do have like personal friends. One of my friend, my very good friend, who's in cybersecurity, he actually came from an aerospace background, so he kind of like mentored me through the process
Mm-hmm.
until I landed the first job too
Right.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like he took me through a series of interview preps and was so
Mm-hmm.
hard on me. Honestly, I'll
Uh-huh.
never forget that.
Yeah.
And he'd ask me questions, he'd quiz me like as if I was gonna have like a big interview
Mm-hmm.
or something. I think that actually helped shape everything. And then that was when I started like taking resources one by one
Mm-hmm.
and then practicing them. So
Right.
for instance, I started with let's defend,
Mm-hmm.
try hack me, all
Mm-hmm.
those things,
Mm-hmm.
taking one thing like let's say email investigation.
And
I'll
then you
take
do
that
it.
for about a week
Mm-hmm.
and then practice that and go through it and make sure I'm
Mm-hmm.
understanding everything that I'm doing, you
Right.
know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. That's that's interesting.
Yeah.
So now let's spice it a bit. So tell us about where you had your first internship at, the company's name, and probably now you're not going to make it sound like everything is so juicy.
Oh yeah,
So you're going to tell us
definitely.
about the struggles that you went through
Of
getting that
course,
job,
I
right?
will.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us the name of the company
Hmm.
and your role going in, and probably tell us the struggles that you went through to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like officially, my first cybersecurity job was with Mose Cybersecurity. It's in
Mm-hmm.
Australia,
Yeah,
but I
Australia.
actually
Yeah.
had it like
Oh,
online.
remote. Yeah.
So it's more of like the day-to-day activities that you
Mm-hmm.
do at the workplace, but this was online. You have a virtual machine for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's self-paced.
Face. Yeah.
But then I think another major job that I got was with Splunk,
Mm.
right? And
Mm.
that
Okay.
was like my first threat intelligence enhancing
Where was
role.
this?
And this was in San Francisco.
Oh.
But it was an amazing role, hands
Mm.
down. Like Splunk has like the best working environment. Honestly, I kid you not. Like they were so welcoming,
Right.
and they didn't even make me feel like I didn't know anything. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they took me where like they just took me from where I was
And built
to
you up.
like and built me up.
Right.
And I'm so grateful to the people in my team, Sydney Howard, Adam,
That's cool.
Charlotte, and Robert Scott at that
Mm-hmm.
time, who was actually my manager.
Right.
And yeah, those are the few names that I can remember. But I'm still in contact with them, and it's really been great, especially with Sydney, like mentoring me over and over and over again. And sometimes she doesn't even realize she's mentoring me, but I'm really grateful for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an interesting role. First time getting into cyber threat intelligence, and I actually didn't know what to expect, but I actually had an idea of how things was going to go, because I was really interested in nation states, advanced persistent threats. So I knew a lot about that. But it was up to me to take that knowledge that I had and then put it into my work, and just like I said, I had a great mentorship, I had great guidance and leadership that helped me to better those skills.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Good.
I think some of the challenges that I experienced, probably like technical writing was a big deal. It wasn't easy, like trying to, after doing whatever you've been asked to do, it's like documentation is like the hardest part, honestly. But it's
because you need to break it down.
Exactly, because it's going to higher level management, and some of them might not even be technical. So you need to write in such a way that they understand what you've actually done.
You
So
need to break it down.
Yeah, that's one challenge that I experienced. I mean, one major challenge, but I think the rest was more about like trying to, feel comfortable in the space that I found myself, and just know that like I was actually doing great, and I was learning, because like I know my manager actually told me, I asked him, the first thing I asked him on my first day was, what would you want me as an intern? What do you expect me to do? He said, be like a sponge. And I was like, what do you mean? And then that was like, is it Todd Miller? Yes, Todd Miller said that to me. And then I said, what do you mean by that? I was like, a sponge soaks up everything. And that's like, that remained exactly. So it's like, I get in calls, incident response calls, I get in various calls, like with the security operations center team, and everything, like they're just saying everything. I try to consume as much as possible, like soak up everything. Exactly. Right. It was super amazing. Right. Yeah. So be like a sponge. Yeah.
So that's the word. Be like a sponge.
Yeah. Be ready.
Don't
to
leave
soak
anything
up.
on the floor. Soak everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So right now you've gone to Splunk. You've done the things that you've done. You came back. You came back to school. Then you went back for a second internship.
Yeah.
Now, before we go to that, can you tell us this, several fields you have in cybersecurity? Because I know it's not just one.
Yeah.
I know there are many that you can do that probably, might not be necessarily penetration testing and the other stuff. So how many can you count off of your head?
Yeah.
That are the fields in cybersecurity.
I really like that question, because I feel like a lot of people, especially from our part of the world, get it confused when you say you're in cybersecurity. They go like, oh, you're in cybersecurity. Oh, you're a hacker, And then I go like, no, I'm not. And then they're like,
well, you know how to use the terminal.
Exactly, right. But anyway, there are a lot of fields in cybersecurity, various fields for everyone, from non-technical aspects to technical aspects. I am more into technical cybersecurity. So I would mention cyber threat intelligence, which I love so much, threat hunting, there's incident response, there's working as a SOC analyst, security operations center. We have like purple teamers as well.
Yeah.
We have like red teamers, which are like threat pen testers, vulnerability assessors, or vulnerability management. We also have like risks and assessments, which is not really as technical. I mean, some roles are technical. It depends on the company you find yourself.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of roles out there. I know there are even roles in cybersecurity for people in communication studies, in the sense that they just come on board and help with cybersecurity communications in that organization. We also have like project management roles, like in cybersecurity, validation roles as well.
I didn't know about project management. Yeah. So recently I was contacted by one of my peers going to intern at the same place, and she was like, Josh, I just saw your profile, and I'm like, yeah, you're going to be at the same place. I'm like, oh, are you also a pen tester? Like, nah, I'm just a project manager.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
There's policies as well, privacy and policy. There's digital forensics if you're interested. So there's a lot of roles out there. It just depends on what you really want to do. And I feel like sometimes some people most people that I've met sometimes say it's good to actually explore all aspects
All
of
of them.
cybersecurity before you decide on one. Some
Did
also
you
say
did you get a
it's
chance to do that in your first internship to explore other areas?
no, I did partake in certain things related to incident response at some point. But mainly I was just in threat intelligence and threat hunting.
All right.
But when I worked at my second place, which is TikTok, it was quite different. It was kind of like technical and non-technical at the same time because like you're doing technical things and you're actually providing maybe strategic decisions for top level management as well. So I got to experience both sides of, I mean, security leadership and being technical in security as well.
All right. Now, so let's come to TikTok.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us the application process for TikTok? Did you use the same resume for the first one, or did you tweak it? What were the components of your resume?
Right.
If you had that resume today, probably I can share to my audience. I keep my resumes for everything that I do.
Oh yeah.
So what was the content of your resume? What was the application process like? The interview process and probably getting into TikTok.
Oh yeah. So before I talk about TikTok, I didn't talk about my interview process for Splunk.
Right. Please go ahead.
It was quite very technical.
How many interviews?
I had, I think, 3 steps, I believe. So first, I was interviewed by the senior threat intelligence analyst, and second, I was interviewed by the senior threat hunter, and then I got interviewed by the director of security operations. Yeah. So you go through all these 3 phases, and then a decision is made. So for TikTok, I think I went through the same process as well. The first one was with a recruiter, a technical recruiter, asked me about my background, knowledge, everything, year of graduation, and all that. And then secondly, I spoke to, I think, the senior validation, something. And after that, I spoke to the manager, my direct manager that I worked with. So it was kind of like, for TikTok, it was kind of like laid back because they had already seen some experience from Splunk already. So they were more of like asking me, oh, you have all of these experiences. It's very good. Like, what did you do in those positions? How was it like? Did you like the work environment? What would you want to do in the next 5 to 10 years? Who would you want to be? Would you want to be in a leadership position, or would you still want to be in a SOC team, an IR team, or whatever? So it was more about goals and where I see myself in the next 5 to 10 years. So it wasn't seriously technical, but once in a while we touched on a few things. For the resume aspect, I actually use the same resume that I use for Splunk. Because when I looked at the job description for TikTok, it kind of like had similar things that I did at Splunk. So I didn't see the need to actually tweak my resume to actually fit, let's say, for instance, if I'm applying for an incident response role, I'll probably tweak my threat intelligence resume to suit that, just so like I can be interviewed or something, just a little tweaking. It doesn't mean you're lying, but you just put it in like just a few, like refining it. You're refining the statement or like whatever you've written on your resume, yeah. So
good. So just so you know, because there are NDA clauses in these roles,
yeah,
so
I
you're not
can
going to
talk so much
them.
about
Yes.
what I did and all that, but
yeah, but it's interesting.
yeah.
If you want to know about it, just go online, read about what IR those in IR does, or the threat response does, those that does threat intelligence or threat research. What they do, so you can read about them. Good. So now you've done 2. Right. You've done 2 internships.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to sign any security clearance, or how did the process go for you?
Well, I didn't have to do any security clearance. I'm not sure. No, I didn't do any of that. I just did a background check, which always cleared. Because obviously, obviously, I don't have to worry about anything because I don't have a bad record. Honestly, I don't, and I don't plan on having a bad record. But yeah, it was just security. It was just a background check, making sure I'm actually a student and I'm enrolled, and I actually had whatever I had on my resume is actually accurate, and all that. So basically, that was what was done. No challenges. I got my CPT as a student. I had my CPT signed before my start date, so I just focused on working on that. Got that done. And when it was time for me to start, I just submitted my CPT. That's the I-9
Yeah,
document.
for my nine.
Yeah.
That came from the company, right?
Yeah, so you have to, no, it doesn't necessarily come from the company. I think so. No, it's just a list of documents that you need to submit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you submit a list of documents to show that you're eligible to work in the US as an international student. So I submitted all those documents. Yeah.
Right. Now I just want us to divert a bit. Let me pick up your thoughts. I mean, you heard it from her.
Yeah, sure.
She's worked in Splash, she's worked in TikTok. These two alone, all in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think TikTok has a head office in San Francisco, I believe. But for TikTok, I worked in Washington. DC. So
right. Now, if you know where Cincinnati is, you know what she's talking about is that's long distance. So I mean, we're not going to go into that.
Yeah.
But just to pick up on your thoughts,
Yeah.
can anybody without an IT background, right, or a degree in IT or computer science, enter into cybersecurity?
Yeah, I believe so. It just depends on your drive and the resources that you're actually consuming. So I actually mentor people that do not have any IT background, and they've learned a lot, so much. Honestly, they've learned a lot, and like they're so like excited to be in the field of cybersecurity, that I mean they're not letting anyone convince them that it's not good enough for them just because they don't have an IT background. So just like I said initially, there are some cybersecurity jobs that require that somebody who has just communication degree is allowed to be in that field.
Right.
And it all boils down to how you took your resume and what you've learned. So you have a bunch of resources out there.
Right.
Like, which one are you ingesting? Which one are you taking in to make your resume a good one? You know, like putting them out as projects, because on your own, you're proving to a recruiter that I may not have this job, I may not have a degree in IT or computer science, but on my own, I actually have these resources and I've actually studied them and I have my knowledge from here. So I'm good enough to be in the job.
Right.
You get it? Yeah.
Nice. Good. So that means you don't need to have a degree in IT. You don't need to.
Yeah, it's possible. Just like people who don't have any coding skills break into software engineering by just teaching themselves how to code. It's also possible. I think the issue with cybersecurity in the US with international students is most people don't know how to differentiate between applying for a federal job or a government job or a job that actually requires you to have security clearance. There are some jobs that do not require you to have security clearance. You can apply for those cyber jobs, you know. So I feel like sometimes, let me just put that out there, most people just like generalize everything and say, oh, you're not a citizen, you're not a green card holder, you can't get a cyber job. That is so wrong. Get your facts right. Honestly, you can actually get a good cyber job. And Joshua is here. This is his first year, and he has a cyber job. He should talk about that. He's going to be working with one of the great companies in the US. Yes, we'll talk about that. But
that's nice. So just let me just spice your interest a bit. Please tell us, is the pay good? This one, please tell us. Is the pay good? No, you're not going to be specific, right? Just a range. Is the pay good?
Well, it is. It's decent. It's decent. I mean, like I live in the US alone, no family. I'm here alone, so it's quite a decent amount. Like I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be earning that. Honestly.
So probably in the US, if you don't know, most companies pay bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Or every 2
per
weeks
hour.
You get paid.
Yeah, per hour.
So can you pick up your phone? Just go to Glassdoor, Indeed. Let's see how much these sites were saying, or this site will say you can get in an hour. Then you can come. Was it? I mean, up to that, or probably above that. Then probably can have a clear sense of how much some of these.
Glassdoor cybersecurity job, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Interesting. Okay, so it says it pays it's a range
Mm-hmm.
between 40 $40 to $82 per hour.
So in your past two internships, was it between the like was it within the range?
I believe so.
Oh,
Yeah, it
now,
was within the range. Yeah, yeah.
imagine taking something way less than that, and now you wake up, the recruiter tells you your offer comes in like you're taking this amount of money, and
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, that's just another part. But I think the most important part for me is like getting the skills.
Mm,
So I told myself I wanted to like grow my skills in cybersecurity, and I'm really grateful that I worked so hard for it, and like seeing myself in positions where I get to learn different things,
mm,
and then like I get to decide and say, oh hey, like I'm really grateful for what I've learned, and this is the path I want to pursue.
mm.
So yeah, it's been
All right.
an amazing journey. Yeah.
So let me ask you.
Mhm.
This is me being curious, right? So by the way, we are two different people. Sometimes, we are all in sales creative, but
Yeah.
probably we approach certain things differently.
Hmm.
I approach the way I apply to jobs differently. I know she
Right.
doesn't like it, but probably I mean
Yeah.
that's what
We
works
we
for me.
fight over that all
Yes,
the
yes,
time,
yes,
but
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, you could have stayed at Splunk, you could have stayed at TikTok if you wanted
Hmm.
to,
Hmm.
right? I mean, after working for them as an intern,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
most of them they do retain them,
yeah,
and I know you did
yeah.
great. So why did you choose to not stay but go back to school and do PhD?
First of all, I think my main goal for coming to the US has always been to get a PhD.
Hmm.
Um,
But please, a second. The PhD is it the word doctor that fascinates you?
oh
Or
no,
okay,
not
okay,
that it fascinates me.
all
I
right.
have like some long-term goals, which I'm
Hmm.
not going to talk so much about,
Right.
but I have some long-term goals that I feel like getting that um education certificate or that level would
Hmm.
help me to accomplish that.
Hmm.
Also it's just to I'm not to prove to anybody that I can get a PhD, but it's just like one of my desires to get
Hmm.
that.
Right.
And like I've worked so hard to get here,
Hmm.
and I just like just want to pursue it. Like there are a lot of reasons. I just like
Yeah.
can't mention them, but
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not because I want to be called doctor, no,
Hmm.
but like I really enjoy what I do, and I got in for um I got in for great reasons, yeah.
Hmm.
And
So.
like you said, I could have been maintained at a job,
Mhm.
but I chose to move on because I knew or I
That
know
they
what's ahead.
presented you that
Yeah, yeah,
that okay.
yeah. I know what's ahead of me, and
Mm,
I know what I wanted to achieve.
mm.
So and I don't regret
You
any
don't
of
regret
that.
doing that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. So I mean, at this point, we're not going to entangle ourselves with any barriers. So I'm just going to leave
Mm-hmm.
you free. Any tips and tricks for any international student out here in the US that probably wants to break into the space of cybersecurity? Just top 10 or top five that comes out of your head.
Top five things. Let's see. First, believe in yourself. You can only accomplish what you believe you can accomplish, honestly. And don't let people get in your head. If you're sure of what you want to pursue, go for it, honestly. And there are tons of resources out there that you can actually go through and then find the perfect one that fits for you and that aligns you to what you want to accomplish, honestly. The second thing is you need to keep learning. Cybersecurity is a growing field. You can know something today and tomorrow is changed and you have to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with me, like being in cyber threat intelligence, it's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of information coming in every second, every minute, every hour. So sometimes I have to learn things like consistently. Um, Learning should be one thing. Curiosity, you should be curious to
Yeah.
know what is going
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
out there.
You
What
should
is
be
going
hungry.
on? Yeah, you should be hungry for more information and be like a sponge. You know,
Yes,
while
sponge.
you're hungry and you're getting in a lot of things, you should
Yeah.
be able to soak them,
Mm.
remember them, and then use them in your daily practices. What other thing can I say? Um, I'm not sure.
Well,
Probably.
that's fine.
Like, well, you could actually, okay, yeah, another thing is try to find out or to learn about the various fields of cybersecurity
Mm-hmm.
before you get in. I feel like sometimes some people like just persuade people when you say, I want to get to cybersecurity, they just say, go and be a pen tester.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
You need to let people explore what they really want to do. You want to know whether you want to be a defensive analyst
Mm-hmm.
or offensive,
Right.
or you want to be an incident responder, like you want to be like a firefighter. You
Mm-hmm.
want when an attack happens, you want to be the one to quench that fire.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just take some time to think about what you want to do. Like the internet is available for you. Do that research that you need, and then find the right things that you want to find. The last thing I want to talk about is find a mentor. Like the person doesn't necessarily have to see you as a mentee or for
Mm-hmm.
you to see them as a mentor, but you can just talk to them and say, oh, hi, I came across your profile on LinkedIn and you're in cybersecurity, and I have no background in cybersecurity. So I just wanted to ask some questions. If you're a recruiter and I applied, what
Mm-hmm.
are some of the things that you want to see on my resume? Like just ask questions that will put you in great standing if you want to apply for a cybersecurity job. Yeah. And I'm sure like most people out there are ready to help people who want to break into cybersecurity,
Mm-hmm.
newbies. Even if you know something or you have some experience in cybersecurity, you can still reach out to people who are really experienced in the field and they can lead you. So yeah, that's
Right.
what I have.
So, with the last part to end it all, we're going to give out resources that probably
Oh
anybody
yeah.
that wants to. I'll be willing to give out red teaming resources and probably
Mm-hmm.
just take up the blue teaming side or probably threat intel side.
Yeah.
So on top of my head, I'm going to take yours. So probably
Yeah,
just try
so
hack
I'll
me.
share the repository with him just
Yeah.
in case he wants to
Mm-hmm.
share it with his audience.
Right.
You guys can see I put a list of resources that I put together
Mm-hmm.
from news to podcast to technical stuff to non-technical stuff and how I actually broke into cybersecurity. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say I broke into cybersecurity. I already had the passion for it.
Yeah.
I was already in IT.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but the resources are actually good for you to
Yeah.
get a hang of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right. So I mean, probably just do your try hack me stuff. Go to Let's Defend, as he said.
yeah,
Security Blue Teams is there.
yeah,
Red Teaming Nation 2 is there.
exactly.
Um,
Ton,
yeah.
lots of resources
But
out
for
there.
me, I think I learn most on Twitter and LinkedIn. That's my two. So when
Yeah.
I open my social media, I just go to Twitter. I mean,
I must say, Twitter is actually my favorite
yeah.
information pipeline,
Uh-huh.
honestly. If you to talk about cybersecurity news, where I get my news from, my
Mm-hmm.
first place is Twitter. That's
Mm-hmm.
where I actually see everything that's going on. And I do follow like security
People,
personnel,
yeah.
like,
Hashtags and
um,
all that. I mean,
yeah,
that's what I do.
um, malware tech,
Mm-hmm.
like John Strand,
Mm-hmm.
Brian Krebs,
Mm-hmm.
all the famous people
Right.
that put security news out there, and then I like it just helps me to keep informed on
Right.
what's happening. Yeah.
So one thing to share before I end is if you have the resources, or if you're around any city that has a conference going on,
Mm-hmm.
take advantage of that.
Oh yeah,
That's
conferences
very
are really
exactly.
important. Yeah,
It's
like
really really
you
cool.
get to meet a lot of people,
Mm.
security personnel, who can direct you,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, lots of conferences. If you have
Right.
the opportunity, go for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you don't have the means, that's fine. But if you have the means, just make it a point to be there
yeah,
every session. Don't miss it.
yeah.
If you ask me to miss between class and a conference, I'll choose to miss a class and go for a conference. Please don't do that. But that's
No,
for me.
don't do it. Don't do it. You just need to ask for permission. Honestly, don't go the Joshua route. He's being rebellious. No, all you need to do
Hmm.
is just ask your professor. I mean, in my case, my professor has always been supportive,
Yeah.
because like I've always attended women in cybersecurity
Hmm.
conferences, and then I tell her I want to attend this conference, and she's like, have at it,
Go
like
for
go
it.
for it.
Yeah.
Make a lot of connections when you
Hmm.
go, like try to learn things and then come back with lots of swags,
Yeah.
because that's the best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so
the best part. So when you come, you have the bag full of swags
yeah,
and
full of swags,
yeah. But sometimes you
super
go in there
interesting.
just to meet new people
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah.
feel free,
So
yeah.
thank you guys for sticking with us, and I hope that probably for the past 20 or 40 minutes that you shared with us, probably
Yeah.
you've learned something.
Yeah.
And I hope if you have any questions, just reach out
Oh
to me
yeah,
on
it's just you too,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
LinkedIn, so Sylvia Worlali, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Azumah.
Yeah,
So yeah,
always
you can
smiling
check me
on her
out.
LinkedIn profile. So when you see her, you get to see her. So
Guys, smile. It's good.
yes.
You never
So
know.
please reach out to us with your questions, and if you have any questions at all, just reach out to us, and be willing and happy to answer your question or
Yeah.
help you out along the lines. And
Yeah.
remember, be the sponge, suck in every
Get
information that you can
sponge.
get. Be the
Yeah.
sponge.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
All right.